Hello, hello, hello. Welcome again to the 7th World of Stoopzz podcast. Good morning, good morning. I just woke up here with a cup of coffee. This is my favorite thing to do now in the morning, is just to wake up, give you guys my thoughts, updates on the Stoopzz channel. So if you are new to these podcasts, they are simply a format for you guys to listen in the background while you're doing your world quests. Maybe you're doing a raid, perhaps you're doing that dungeon grind, that mythic Keystone Plus grind, and maybe you are even doing the dishes, the laundry, maybe you're at work on your lunch break. These are the best fillers, in my opinion, to doing daily activities that aren't the most ideal. So instead of watching a video, sitting at your computer, you can play this in the background, offer yourself some entertainment along the way. And for me personally, they are very enjoyable. So if you are new to these podcasts, we typically start off the podcast with an overview, which we are currently in right now. We will then transition into any news that I have for the Stoopzz TV channel. And following that, we will enter my favorite portion of the podcast, and that is the subscriber spotlight, which I love doing so much. And finally, we will end with the topic of the podcast. And today's topic is just simply how to climb arena, how to get more comfortable inside the World of Warcraft arena. These are all questions and tips that I have to offer and answer to all the time. I get these questions all the time, and there really is a simple answer. And if you have not followed me on Twitter, I've kind of offered some insight in the past 24 hours on how you can climb an arena and get better at this video game. So following that overview, we're just going to go into any news for the channel. And I finally settled in my room, which I released on the last podcast. And I've done a couple of streams since then. And since then, I've been starting to understand that maybe these podcasts are something that I'm going to be putting a little bit more emphasis in altogether. Obviously, not something that will be replacing my videos. However, I enjoy doing these, and I think it allows me to communicate to you guys in a much more effective manner. Yes, I do not want you to sit back and just pay attention to everything I'm saying during this podcast. I want you to play this in the background, and if anything sticks out at any moment during this podcast, then maybe it will lure your attention, but it is something that should be used to play again in the background of what you're doing in your daily lives. Everyone is busy. Everyone has things they want to do. Perhaps you have a job, perhaps you have kids, perhaps you're in a raiding guild, perhaps you don't have time to sit at your desk and watch a full 30-minute video, but you can play this in the background and get information that you find to be relative and important and continue your daily life. Now, with that being said, I've started to realize that it really is almost not feasible for me to make videos, 5 to 6 long in-depth videos, and stream every night. So I'm going to be considering what I can do to balance this out. What should I be doing? What should be the aim of my channel? Should it be long in-depth guides and streaming every night? Because that seems almost impossible for me to pull off. I'm going to try and do that, but I'm going to be trying to reinvent my channel in a way where I can reach and touch on every base, that being Twitter, podcasts, perhaps Instagram, Snapchat, videos, streaming, all of these different formats. But I'm going to have to take a different approach with this because it's not feasible for me as one human being to touch on all ends with the amount of time and hours I have in a single day. I still need to sleep. I've also been playing my Mistweaver a lot more as of late. I've been enjoying it a lot more. I found that right now in the meta, these cleave teams are so powerful and they really do favor Mistweavers. Of course, Mistweavers have always done well with cleave teams. So when I get asked the question, how are Mistweavers doing? They're doing really good because of these cleave teams. And I've been playing with my boy Raspberry TV. He's doing an amazing job playing Windwalker and Demon Hunter, and it's great to have him in the channel. And he's a great addition to my channel because he gets on quite late. He stays up late with me. We have a lot of fun. We geek out together, and that has been an awesome experience over the past couple weeks. I am also getting the question, how come you have not been playing with Clack? And there is no reason why I've not been playing with Clack. I've just been moving, and my schedule is a lot different than his. I try to play with him. I've been trying to play with him, and I just got in touch with him yesterday. And by the time you are hearing this podcast, it would have been, 2 days ago. And we're going to try and group back up together again because I love my boy, my boo Clack. He's my buddy, and I would like to play with him really soon here. All right, now we are transitioning into the subscriber spotlight. And just during the last podcast, I mentioned Lemon Lime, and that was a lot of fun. I really like that guy. He really deserves it. And as much as he does not want to admit that, it was kind of fun just poking that compliment out there because I know him a little bit and maybe he's a little reluctant or shy to admit the impact he's had on my community. So that was great. But this week, I want to give a shout out to my boy, Tyler Thorpe. I did mention him in the last podcast, but Tyler Thorpe is a monster, a savage, a stud. The guy's been tuning in every single stream. He is one of my Patreon supporters, which means he has signed up for the coaching analysis, the gameplay review analysis. He signed up for private coaching sessions. And honestly, I don't like to call it coaching because I think every player has the potential to be better than me, greater than me, or they're on the same level as me. They just need some simple tips and tricks, or maybe they need some information on the current meta or what they can do in terms of positioning to improve their gameplay. And he's one of those guys. I mean, he's been playing for almost as long as I have, perhaps even longer, like more consistently. And we're just fine-tuning a few things. He seemed to be really aware of what was going on, and I'm just very proud of his commitment to the channel as well as these sessions. He seems like he's very interested, and he's just so supportive. I mean, the guy's been coming in and donating and donating and donating, and it's such an awesome feeling to have new blood come into the channel and just become like family right away, similar to Lemon Lime and many other people. It's such a nice feeling for me as a human being to have a new addition to our community, and he's been attending. He's always listening in the background, and after talking to that guy, he is an absolute workhorse. The guy works so many hours a week, but he still stays up with the stream. Hopefully he enjoys it. I know I enjoy his company, and I'm so grateful to have that guy alongside of the rest of the roster in our community, and he's fitting right in. I know everybody I've talked to just kind of on the side, they love Tyler. I love the cat pictures. I love his engagement. I love his humor. He just fires up the stream. I was dancing and going crazy the other night, and he was just so fun to be around during moments like that. So Tyler, if you're listening, you're my boy. Thank you so much for all of your support. It does not go unnoticed or unappreciated, and I cannot wait to follow up on your progress playing the Mage Biscuit, Gladiator Biscuit. I cannot wait to see that achievement run across your name and that new title that I think you can easily achieve if you put in the work. So with that being said, this is a great transition into our topic of the day. We're talking about Tyler Thorpe, him playing the Mage, improving his gameplay, the Patreon account, and now today's topic is revolving around the idea of how to climb arena. How do you get better? How do you get more rating? What do I have to do? Stoopzz, I'm stuck at 1700. Stoopzz, I'm stuck at 1300. I can't get out of this bracket. I've been playing for a long time. I used to be really good a couple expansions ago, but now I'm not so good, or I'm stuck. What do you think the problem is? And now when I think about this idea of how to climb arena rating, why am I stuck? Those two things go together. When I think about this, I imagine like almost a tree or like a pyramid, like a scheme of different branches that connect to different things. But at the top of a tree, there's always a point, right? At the top of a pyramid, there's always a point that kind of branches down into other elements. But at the top, or maybe I should start from the bottom. You know, at the bottom, I would say it's going to be the foundation of comp building, right? What comp are you running? Are you running the right comp for your class? Are you running an effective comp? Are you running a comp that can transition and be played through every season that's been notorious through different expansions? It's probably positioning, it's awareness. These are all different things that kind of connect down to that. But at the top of this pyramid, at the top, the most pivotal and key point regarding this entire argument or conversation, it is simply playtime. You need to play more. A lot of people do arena and they don't play enough. They simply play once in a while. They kind of like take a break. I mean, I won't call any people out, but I'll look on my Twitch account, people that I'm even coaching, by the way, people that I'm coaching, and I see them playing, and they're playing like Minecraft or League of Legends or Dota 2, and they're playing other games. How often are you grinding arena? Because if you've signed up for these coaching sessions and you watch my channel, then I want to see that you're trying to improve. Because if I'm investing myself in you, I want to see that you're actively playing over and over and over again, that you're continuously playing, that you're trying to improve. You don't care about your rating. So with that being said, your rating, the idea that you care about your rating, what are barriers to entry to playing more? Well, number one, I'll give most of you the benefit of the doubt, and that is finding partners. Okay, I get that idea. That's why I'm an advocate for solo queue. I understand that's hard to find partners sometimes, and I've had that issue where I have to wait for people to log on, like buddies, so we can kind of group up. But all of these partners that I found on my buddies list were found through LFG. I just found them one night. So it does take time to get rolling, and this goes back to the idea of making friendships. You guys need to look to make friendships. You need to not be an asshole when you're in a queue session with somebody. You want to get them in voice, get to know them, crack some jokes, get to know them as a human being, in between matches, create conversation, not just about the arena comp, not just about the meta, how you feel or complain about certain things in the game. It needs to be like, hey man, how's it going? Or where do you live, bud? Or you working right now? Or do you have to work in the morning? Getting to know them on a personal basis, treating them like they're a human being, like somebody you would run into at the grocery store, creating a general conversation so that, hey man, you seem pretty cool. Like maybe we're not doing so hot tonight, but I'd like to add you to my buddies list and we can queue up later. You want to fill out your roster of friends that have potential skill, but more importantly, a solid foundation in terms of a relationship between you and them so that you can reach out to them for future opportunities. But now that we've covered that barrier of entry, right, finding partners, what else are barriers to entry? Well, another barrier to entry is simply being scared of losing rating. And this one drives me nuts. In a way, I always hear that, well, I don't want to lose my rating, or I want to sit on this rating. It's like, what are you sitting on it for? For what? Obviously, if you're coming to me and you're looking for coaching or you're watching my videos, perhaps you're even better than me, and you know what, that's awesome. I'm glad you're still involved in this channel. But what are you really fighting for? I mean, you're fighting for an achievement that you're like crossing your fingers and your toes and waiting for a full moon eclipse to happen that you'll land that achievement because you're slowly crawling and you're super scared about losing rating so you can get that 2K achievement that you'll never be able to achieve again because you have not improved on the fundamentals, on your gameplay, on your awareness. You have not put in the adequate play time, and you got lucky because you played Moonkin last patch and you got 2K, and you walk around with your big nutsack and you tell your friends, hey, check me out, man, I got 2K on my Moonkin. Congratulations, you played a broken, busted class that everyone was playing, but try getting it again. So my point is, if you're scared to lose rating, that means you know in your heart, you know that you don't deserve whatever rating that you have. I'm not scared to lose rating because if I really want to, I'll just play again and I'll play again and I'll eventually get back to where I was. It's not an issue. Especially, I can never say that word correctly, but as the season goes on, rating begins to inflate. So most people will pull out their big E-peen at the end of the season. Hey, Stoopzz, guess what? I got 2,600 at the end of the season. Well, it inflates by that point. Show me that you got 2,600 the first couple weeks and I'm like, wow, you're a G. You should go to BlizzCon. My point is that a lot of people are scared to lose rating. They don't want to go in LFG, which then inhibits them from finding new people, which creates the issue of barrier to entry in finding new arena partners. You can't find anyone to play with. So a lot of times what I see is somebody is stuck at like 1980. They're so close to 2K. They've never had a 2K achievement, or they're stuck at 2180. Like, well, I don't want to go on the LFG. I don't want to look for people. So I'm just kind of waiting for like a shooting star to happen where people will just hop into my life. Like God's going to throw these partners onto my lap. I'm going to find these partners and I'll get that 2200. That's not going to happen. And then what you're doing is you're limiting your roster of friends. You're limiting the chances that you have to find new partners where you can group up with over the next couple weeks, patches, expansions. You want to have a solid roster. And how do those pros, how do these rank ones, these streamers find partners? Yes, a lot of it's like inner, connections and you're in the in, but a lot of it's just playing more. They just play, they play. Stop looking at your arena rating. You want to look at your skill and improvement. And that's kind of like the trend in society today. Everything is artificial. How do I look, but not how do I feel, right? How am I on the external, not on the internal? You want to look to improve your internal gameplay, you as a player, because people will see, damn, this guy is really good. I want to queue up with him even though we're losing. So again, it's like you know that you're not good enough to get that rating. So you're just like, oh man, I don't want to lose. Like I need to sit here. If I lose, I'm not going to get back here. Think about that. You don't want to lose because you're afraid that you won't get back to that point. Well, then you don't deserve it. And you can go around, blame your partners, you can blame other people, but if you're a better player, you're going to find better partners. So the only thing that you can really control for the most part, right? There's conversations that can be had within the arena team. There's conversations that can be had between partners and how you can improve your strategy. But the number one thing that you can control is yourself and your own skill level. And if you become more skilled, regardless, you'll naturally begin to carry games a little bit. You'll begin to climb rating, especially based on your class. Let's say you're a healer or maybe you're a rogue or a mage. You might be able to kind of make some clutch plays, but you will also attract better players. I've gone into LFG before and there's that weak link in the team where there's me and this other guy that are vibing. We both know that we're a lot better than the other guy. And like, hey, I'll add you to buddies list. I have some friends too. It's all you have to do is find one guy in LFG that you vibe with, that you are on the same skill level with, and then hopefully he has a whole roster of friends. And that's how it's gone for me. I meet one guy who knows a couple guys, and those couple guys know a couple guys, and then sooner or later you will see that you have an entire roster full of studs on your battle tag, and you can begin to queue arenas. So again, just to make that point, the biggest barrier to entry could be your buddies list. It could be your fear for arena rating. It could be your potential class. But above that, those barriers to entry are almost fake. They're like fears that you potentially have of queuing into arenas, and it's stopping you from getting the most important factor on that tree, that pyramid, which is playtime. You need to play. You need to play. And you know what? I guarantee you why you're playing League of Legends, I know why you're playing these other games, is because arena's too hard. I can't find the partners. It's too difficult. It's the same excuses which go back to the video that I made, or the last podcast, where World of Warcraft gets boring. You don't want to play. You make excuses of why you don't want to play. You make excuses why you don't want to go do those random mythics or those dungeons. I don't like mythics, but if my boys ask me, hey, let's go do a mythic plus, I'm like, you know what? I'm down. Let's geek out. Let's go do that mythic plus. I want to have fun. I don't care if I suck. Let's just laugh, make jokes. And that's how arena should be treated as well, right? Don't take them so seriously. Yes, you want to improve on your gameplay, but you also want to just keep playing. Play more. And if you're worried about your main, make an alt and just get playtime in on your alt. Considerable amounts of playtime. Make an alt of the same class. I have 2 Mistweavers, and I play them both, and it's helped my Mistweaver gameplay a lot. Now, underneath the idea, or the top of the pyramid of playtime, that pinnacle point being playtime, we talked about it a little bit ago, right? There's meta, awareness, positioning, counter comps. How do you understand and get to know that? Well, obviously it comes under playtime. How do people figure out the meta? They just play the game and they say, wow, there's a lot of TSG going on. There's a lot of DK Warrior going on. There's a lot of DH Warrior going on. That must be really good. I see a lot of Resto Shamans going on. And then the idea of positioning, awareness, ability usage, that's going to come under research and playtime, and we'll get to that in a moment. But the meta is always shifting. But I always see people that come back from like 2 expansions ago, an expansion ago, 3 expansions ago, and they say, I used to be really good years ago, but the meta has shifted and you haven't played, you haven't put in the playtime. So I'll go into a little story before I go into the notion or the conversation regarding spell usage, countering, and positioning, and all that other jazz. But before I get into that, I want to talk about the idea of coming back after a couple expansions or taking a break off arena. So many of you guys know that I have been playing WoW for a long time, but I'm an off and on WoW player, and that was due to my substance abuse, that was due to my job, that was due to my friendship group, that was due to a lot of things. That WoW was no longer interesting to me anymore because I had better things to do, like take substances and party and drink a lot. Like, that was my interest at the time, which wasn't a healthy interest, but that was what I was doing, so I took breaks. And when I came back, I still thought, I'm like, well, I'm going to be the shit. Like, I used to be so good at this game. Watch me crap on everybody. And when I came back, season 1 of Legion, that's when I really came back to WoW. I played a little bit at the end of WoD, but I was still trying to figure out the game, and I was running around like a chicken with his head cut off. I didn't know what I was doing, but I still had an idea of like setups a little bit. But I came back to the game and I was stuck, you guys. I played a Windwalker Monk, and for a couple weeks I was stuck at like 1650 rating. Now, a lot of it was me playing with my friend Ben Iron Man, who probably wasn't the best player at the time. He had taken a long break as well, and we were playing like double DPS, and we're trying triple, we're trying triple DPS and all these different comps, and it wasn't ideal. But I had to go back and realize, man, it's been a long time and I don't have the playtime anymore, and it's the beginning of the expansion and I'm rusty and I do not know the comps, the meta. I haven't put in that pinnacle playtime yet. So it's crazy for me to think that even anyone even above 2K or just 2.2, 2.4, 2.6, those players can fall off just as easy. It doesn't matter how good they were. They haven't put in the playtime. They've gotten rusty and they don't know the meta. And you'll find that to be a common theme for any player. Regardless of their titles, regardless of their play history, you can still be rusty. And it happened to me. And all it took me was just considerable playtime. I played. You didn't catch me on League. You didn't catch me on Dota. And I'm not saying don't have fun playing other games. It's like this weird self-destructive behavior that we have where we want to get better at something. We want to improve on something. And then you fall off like 2 days later. It's like going to the gym. Let's say you're like out of shape and you want to get to the gym. Well, you start eating healthy for a couple of days, you get really serious about it, and then you fall off. So I'm trying to slap you guys out of this like illusion that you create for yourself that you're never going to be good, and start to realize the behavior that you're doing does not support you being better. So obviously, you need to either admit to yourself that, you know what, I'm not trying to get better, and that's totally okay. But if you are trying to improve, then it does require you to actually play the game consistently, trying to mess around on other games, unless it's for like an hour. I want you guys to focus on improving your gameplay because that's what it's going to take. It's not like I'm trying to train you guys to be rank 1 champions. I'm just trying to help you guys realize it's like anything in life. If you want to do it, do not lie to yourself saying, I'm trying to get in shape, but then you go eat McDonald's on the weekend. Well, I'm working out, but you work out 2 days a week and you don't even do cardio. Don't tell yourself that you're doing something if you're not actually doing it. I'm not a fan of that. My dad used to always tell me, you know what, Oliver, you only have control over a few things in your life. You don't have control over your health, right? Because your heart or your kidneys or your lungs can give out on you at any moment. And you don't even have control over your mind. Let's say your girlfriend breaks up with you and you're all sad about that. You can't stop thinking about her. You're like, oh my gosh, I just want to stop thinking about this girl. And sometimes she'll just pop up into your mind. You're like, why am I still thinking about this? I don't want to think about this. So you don't have control over your mind or your body. But the one thing that you do have control over is your word. Okay? What you say, you are able to attempt to achieve. Now, you may not always achieve on your word, but you can try. You can go out there and say, you know what, man, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try and get better. And you can go out there and try to get better. So do not take advantage of your word. If you say you're going to do something, go out there and do it. Don't put it into words. Don't speak unless you're ready to act. Don't comment unless you're ready to commit. So I told myself that I'm not going to come back to this expansion to be some 1600 pleb. I used to be really good at this game. I want to make something out of this game. It's helped me. It's helping me at the time. I am like rehabilitating at this time. I am coming off substances. I always say substances because I don't want, I don't want to glorify whatever I was taking, but I was coming off drugs at this time. And I'm like, this is something for me to focus on, right? So, I always say that to all of the people, my Patreon supporters, the people that I'm working with. I always tell them, it's just a video game. I get it. But let's say you have a hard job. Let's say, your outside life kind of sucks. Maybe your girlfriend's always fighting with you. You're unhappy with your living situation. It's something for you to devote energy to, improving in arena, and that can transition over to everything in your life. Being positive or improving on one aspect of your life does something to you as a person where it causes you to work harder and improve on other aspects of your life. If you're killing it in one area of your life, you're more likely to try and like, you know what, I can do better at this as well. Or you can channel that positive energy, that positive thinking into other aspects of your life. It can take away the negative stress and you can focus it and harness it into something else, that being arena, and you might begin to improve. You might begin to go to work the next day and be like, man, I climbed a 2.2 yesterday. That was awesome. I feel so much better. Like today's gonna be a good day, or last night was such a good day, so I feel so good waking up this morning. I did it. And that happens to me all the time. If I make an achievement, the next day I wake up, I'm like, yes. It's the same thing for PvE, or you get that mount that you've been always wanting to get, right? You get that Raven Lord mount after farming that freaking instance over and over and over again. You finally got it. You wake up the next morning with a big smile on your face, like it's Christmas morning. So I told myself I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use this struggle to improve in arena, and I did it. I put in the playtime, which began to take effect in my ability usage, my awareness, my positioning, my ability to find partners. The more you play, the less sensitive your rating becomes. Of course, it sucks to tank rating, but it's not the end of the world because you'll just play more. So the more I played, the more I began to realize that all of these barriers to entry are just illusions that I create for myself. They're just weird fears that I've placed in front of myself. It's like anything in life. Again, you create these excuses on why you can't achieve something, and those excuses stop you or halt you from reaching the goals that you want to achieve. It's like we're battling ourselves. It's like we want to achieve something, but part of us doesn't want to see us succeed. So it creates these things like, well, what if this happens? Or what all these what ifs, these potential disasters, or all these scenarios that have not even happened yet. We're like creating reasons why we may not do something. So I always wonder, is it self-destructive behavior? Are we stopping ourselves from reaching goals that we want to achieve because we do not want to see ourselves achieve it? At least that's the case for me. I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Now, I also want to talk on or discuss the idea of ability use understanding counters, comps, metas, things like that, right? We were discussing that a moment ago. And something that I want people to learn or understand is it blows my mind, and I'm still a victim of this too, where we'll go into an arena scenario, and this is the best example, right? Holy Priest. You go into a match weeks ago, Holy Priests were everywhere. Holy Priests were all over the place. And you'd go in there like, why can't I CC this Holy Priest? Oh my God, he just topped the guy. Or why does he keep preventing the guy from dying? There's Guardian, there's Ray of Hope. You hit the guy through Ray, and all of a sudden he's full health, and you just go, what the hell was that? And you do it over and over and over again. You try and sheep the guy, and he's immune. And you're like, what? And then you just give up altogether. You don't know when you can CC him or when you can. You don't know when you can hit him or when you can. You're just kind of confused by the whole thing, and you just play along with it. And you keep doing this for weeks on weeks on weeks. When all it takes is a simple Google answer. Google, what is Ray of Hope? What is Holy Ward? But instead, it's like that same behavior where you do not want to take the steps to improve yourself. You just continue playing along, getting frustrated at the game. Holy Priests are so broken. Oh my God, I hate this game. Blizzard sucks. When you haven't even taken the time to figure out what the ability does. And a lot of the times I'll go to bigger streamers and I'll go to their stream. And again, I fall victim to this mentality sometimes. I'll go in there, and I was listening to Hansel talk about Wave the Crane. He's like, yeah, Mistweavers have this thing where they activate Wave the Crane and they can't be CC'd for like a minute. Like, he doesn't even know the actual ability. How much does that actually hinder you not knowing the ability? Do you know any League of Legends players, Dota players, Heroes of the Storm players that do not know what the enemy abilities do? Have you ever gone into a MOBA and you do not know what the enemy has in store for you, what abilities they have, their toolkit? When you don't know, you're like, what the hell was that? But the competition in that game is so much higher than ours because there's more money involved, there's more viewer base involved, they care more. I'm convinced that professional WoW players, they don't care as much as League players do because they don't go out there and research everything. I don't know anybody in the game. When I played Heroes of the Storm or League of Legends or Dota, which I was quite good at, I knew everybody's ability, how it worked, and I could explain it to you verbatim. Like, oh, this is what it does, da-da-da-da-da. But in WoW, we like, oh, I don't really know. They have a wall, like Shaman popped wall. Well, how much damage reduction is it? How long does it last for? What's the cooldown on it? I think it's like 35 seconds. How does Fade work? How long does Holy Ward last for? What's the cooldown on it? Why can't I CC him? Once you figure out Holy Priest, it's actually pretty easy to go around and beat them, but people are so lazy to do the research, that is necessary to understand the class. So there are two things that I want you guys to take away from this conversation. One is playtime. What you can do while you're inside the game. This is what you can do while you're playing. And then outside, when you don't know something, Google it. It's like anything in life. All the information now with the internet is out there for you to understand, to grasp, to discover. It's all there for you with a simple keyboard combination in the Google search bar. You can find out anything on the internet. People ask me all the time, hey Stoopzz, how do I get popular on YouTube? What do you recommend? What information do I need to know before I create a channel? I didn't know anything, but you know what separates me from a lot of people? I am a research monger, dude. I love knowledge. I love figuring things out. And if I don't know something, you bet your bottom dollar I'm Googling it and I'm gonna figure out how to do it. So that is the trend of society now. People that separate themselves from other people, they will discover information on their own. So for me, I didn't know how to edit. I didn't know how to do audio. I didn't know how to create artwork. If I didn't know something, I went and found somebody that did. I did the research and I went out there and discovered it for myself. And I recommend the same for you guys in anything that you do in life. If you want to lose weight, spend hours online figuring out how to lose weight. Don't just hear it from one person, hear it from other people, multiple sources. If you find one answer, don't believe it's the only answer. There's multiple answers out there. Now, I know I'm getting abstract, but I love to do things like that, and it keeps the conversation interesting. It doesn't just keep it WoW-based. I want to relate things to WoW that can transition into your regular everyday life, and they can. Everything is intertwined and connected in some way. Anything that you're trying to achieve can be related and transferred, harnessed, and applied to other things that you deal with in your daily life. So to kind of just summarize this whole conversation for you guys this morning, hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully it was helpful. Hopefully it put that fire under your butt to get off your chair. Look yourself in the mirror and say, am I lying to myself? Am I really trying to improve? Am I watching my own gameplay? Am I submitting my gameplay for anyone out there on YouTube to review? Have I signed up for the Patreon coaching? Nice pitch there. Am I going on Google and researching and understanding my enemies' abilities and what they do, how they work? Am I going on arenamate.net and seeing what the top comps are? What are the top classes? What classes are not doing well? Am I actually playing the game? Am I actually going out there and playing the game, or am I doing arenas once a week for 1 hour or 2 hours a week? 2 hours a week isn't anything. If you went to the gym 2 hours a week, do you think you'd see significant changes on your body? Do you think that you would see growth? You would see minuscule growth. 2 hours a week? 2 hours a week at anything is not enough. Even classes, like history class, or courses at your university, they're at least more than 2 hours a week, and you barely understand anything after that, right? You walk away, you're like, I kind of remember something. Meanwhile, you have all the answers on the back of a sheet of paper in your back pocket so you can cheat when your professor's not even looking. You don't even learn from that, and that's like 3 or 4 hours a week. So I want to see you guys understand it takes this much playtime. Learn to enjoy the process. Don't make it like a job or like a struggle. Geek out, have fun, make friends. Everything, all of the barriers to entry are simply solved with playing more. That is the secret. There is no secret. If you want to learn, it's playing more. And with that, you'll understand what ability that is. And if you don't know it, Google it. If you don't have partners, play more. If you have bad positioning or awareness, play more. If you do not know what the meta is, play more. If you do not know what the best comp is for Mistweavers, play more. Everything can be solved by simply playing more. And don't act like you play more. If I see you on Minecraft, if I see you on League of Legends, if I see you playing other games, then I'm like, you're not playing enough. The answer is simply play more. But that's going to do for this podcast, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure, give this video a thumbs up. If you have any more questions regarding this concept of playing more, you can leave in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you guys right away. Try not to miss me on my YouTube live stream where I answer all of your guys' questions in depth. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.